Welcome to the press conference room. Driver, the number 10 NTT Data Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing, Felix Rosenqvist, who was IndyCar's Rookie of the Year for 2019, and honestly, that might have been the best fifth place finish of the season right there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The big charge, obviously you started deeper in the field than you wanted. Can you describe how aggressively you drove in this race today?
Yeah, it was an interesting race because there was a lot of deg on the tires, and we all knew that. So it was not just being aggressive all the time. It was kind of picking your moments, and then after that, trying to save the tires, trying to save the fuel. But you can feel every time you push through a corner properly, the next corner you're just on ice. So it was really tricky managing that, but I think we did a really good job with it. We were really good on the reds. Maybe a little bit worse on the blacks, at least compared to the Penske cars. They seem to come back a bit in the end of the stints. Yeah, strategy was perfect. I'd say that safety car helped us a little bit for sure. Yeah, it was a hell of a year. I mean, my Chip Ganassi data crew has just been faultless all season, especially the pit crew. They've just never done any mistakes except a few slip-ups, but I mean, I think we had the most solid crew of anyone this year, and I think they deserved this, sixth finish in the championship and a Rookie of the Year. Pretty good finish.
I would think a pretty gratifying day, even though a victory would have been the most complete part of the day.
Yeah, that's still the missing part. I think we had a good chance this weekend for sure. Yesterday we were really fast, but yeah, we had to start from 14th, and that's how it is. At least it made it more exciting. On the Rookie Championship, it was really close to Qualcomm. He did an amazing job. His second win this year. I think he's also going to be one to watch next year. So big congrats to him. He did an amazing job this year.
Questions for Felix? David Malsher? On your right.
Felix, I understand that you won 50 grand for winning Rookie of the Year title. Will that cover whatever fine you're going to get issued for your comments yesterday?
Well, I haven't heard about any fine yet. No, I mean, obviously yesterday was a tough day, and we were all, if I didn't get angry, I think there was something wrong with me. We all go 100% into this. We all go 100% into this with full heart, and something like that happens, which I still think was pretty bad decision. But anyways, that's the past. Obviously you get angry, so it's part of the show, I guess, for you guys.
A sensible question now. When you dropped down to, I think, 12th in the championship overall at some point in the year, did you believe that you would end up finishing 6th overall? That you'd have such a strong second half of the season, you'd come back and finish 6th?
I mean, honestly not. As you say, we were really far behind at one point, and I just tried to focus on the Rookie Championship. I knew technically I could get 6th today, but I didn't know until I finished the race, and I was kind of shocked about it. I guess the rail cars didn't finish that well, so yeah, I'm actually more happy about that than the Rookie title. Being 6th, that's probably best of the rest. I'd say all the guys in front of me have done a better job for sure. But all the Penske guys and Scott and Rossi, they've done a hell of a job this year. So hopefully we can be in that mix next year.
Question in front on your right.
Felix, how big of a deal is it with what happened with qualifying yesterday to get the good finish?
It was a big deal. That was this weekend was our time to sort of end the season on a high, and starting 14th is not normally the way to do that. So yeah, try to use that little bit of anger to go forward today. That was good, I think, and still I think it was a controlled drive. As I said before, you kind of had to be sensible when you had to and aggressive when you had to, and it actually made a really interesting race here in Laguna. I think everyone enjoyed that, so looking forward to come back here next year.
And question on your right from Patrick Stefan.
Felix, you brought in a new audience, your Swedish, etc., European audience to watch the series this year. I mean, we've had it before, but slightly new focus. What would you tell other drivers in your situation that are looking at this series now that you've actually had a full season under your belt?
would encourage anyone to come over here. I know many guys they're looking to do it, and some of my friends, they're always asking about how IndyCar, how are the ovals. That's probably the biggest question I get. Maybe a lot of drivers are scared of the ovals, which I can understand. I challenge anyone to come here and do well in the ovals immediately. And do well in the championship itself. It's not easy for sure. It's been the biggest challenge I've had. But I really hope that more Europeans come over here and show to bring IndyCar more to Europe, because there's a big racing audience there as well. And I think that's with me markets would probably increase that audience a lot. So hopefully more guys come in.
All right, thank you, Felix. Congratulations on a rookie title. You can say it if you'd like.
You got it? Yeah. Nice.
You may go and celebrate if you'd like, or stay if you'd like. It's up to you. We also bring anything further to add.
No, I think I'm good. Thank you guys. Thanks for the year.
You.
We welcome second in the championship, Simon Pagenaud from Team Penske. As I watched the highlights of while Felix was finishing up, you were in most of the shots. You were pretty exciting today. It didn't go as well as you'd like, but you certainly, I think, gave it everything you had.
Yeah, it was a big day for us at Team Penske, that's for sure. The mission for me was simple. It was to go to the front and be aggressive. So, we had a pretty aggressive strategy on tires, but our car was actually really, really good on long runs. So, it was very important to, go to the front, and we did that after the first hit. We managed in the pit sequence to jump Rossi, which was the #1 goal, be ahead of him so we could secure, somewhat the championship for the team. But then I realized that I had the pace to go get Dixon and Herta. So I tried, and unfortunately the luck was Dixon. It was very, very difficult to get around him. I was out of push to pass, which I had to use in a pit sequence to jump people. And, I spent too much money, basically, too quick. But overall, I thought it was an amazing race. I thought we gave a great show for the fans, and it was a great crowd here today. And there's nothing to be disappointed about. I tried as hard as I could all weekend. You saw me drive with my heart. I won Indianapolis this year. There's nothing to be disappointed about. We finished second. That's the second time we're second in the championship. We won the championship in 2016. I think the numbers talk for themselves. So do I want to win the championship? Of course, but I'm just equally happy for Joseph and the whole team to wrap up the Indy 500 in the championship in 1 year. Is just absolutely incredible. So I had a blast today. It was frustrating at the end not to get Dixon, because I really thought I had a shot for Win and Herta, but it is what it is. I tried everything I had, and didn't work out.
You made a couple moves on Scott in turn 2 that looked pretty close. Did you think you had it?
Well, I was bluffing. I thought he was going to give up, and he did not. It certainly surprised me. He was more aggressive than usual. You know your opponents. You know what you can do with them or not. And I knew with Scott, if I knew if I was overly aggressive that maybe he would maybe give up, but he did not give up. He's a tremendous champion. I could have maybe pushed him off, but that's not my style. I'm a clean racer, and I respect him a lot. So I tried. I gave it an honest try, and it wasn't enough. So at the end of the day, if I qualified a little better, I think it would have helped. But again, I think on the whole weekend, I don't think we could have done much better than this. So it was our fate.
You did have one little scuffle there with Alexander Rossi early in the race. He ended up getting pushed into the dirt. How was that moment?
Well, listen, I have a mission. The mission was to be ahead of Rossi, so I was going to be ahead of Rossi at any cost. He came out of pits, he was on cold tires, I was on warm tires, I went to the inside, he blocked, and I'm like, man, you're blocking, I'm going for it. So, and I think he knew that, I was in a position today that I had nothing to lose. I didn't really care if I was going to be third or fourth in the championship. it was, to me, it was either second or first. So my mission and the Team Penske mission was to be ahead of Rossi, to lock it in for the team. I was going to do it at all costs.
Question on the right from Robin Miller.
Simon, I think today there was more passing in this race than there's been in the 22 races before. I've been to all of them. I would just talk about how maybe you were surprised it was that racing, but it was really kind of fun to watch.
Absolutely. The biggest thing this track has to do is absolutely not repave the track. Leave it as it is. The track is absolutely perfect. No need to change anything. It's perfect. It creates the perfect racing because there's some tire degradation. The last corner is an hairpin. You're going into a double left, which allows you to run 2 lane because the inside is so used up. The outside lane's got more grip. So it opens up opportunities for inside lane, outside lane, like you saw me and Rossi, Dixon do. But that's the biggest thing. I think tire degradation always create great racing because it differentiates aggressive cars and setup versus more conservative like we had. So, I think Laguna has always been a great racetrack for racing in sports cars. And certainly I used a lot of my tricks that I learned here in sports cars today. I hope nothing changes because I think they've got the perfect format.
Were you surprised with all the passing?
No, I actually, I noticed in the warm-up practice, whatever it was, it's a long weekend. I think it was Friday?
Friday.
Yeah, Friday afternoon, I noticed you could really pass. So, yeah, I was expecting that. I was expecting at least our car, I knew we could pass, so that was good to see. Good fun.
In the center here with Patrick Steffen.
Did you feel anything about the team strategy hampered your personal strategy towards winning the championship?
Not at all. Actually, it was the other way. I think I had full support from TC, Tim Cindric, and Roger, even Joseph himself, Will, and they had my full support as well on the other side. At the end, it was like, don't create a yellow, that could be a problem for Joseph. So I had that in my head. They told me about it. I had it in my head. I'm like, I am not punting Dixon off. So I had to try to pass him clean. On my side, the TC told me mission is to go forward, try to win the race. So I was pretty much free to do whatever I wanted. When I got around Joseph, I took the outside because I didn't want to put him at risk. I wanted him to give him the choice to do whatever he wanted, and I didn't want to risk him. So I went toward the outside, and he gave me the room, so I went around, took as much room as I could to avoid, getting him in trouble. From then on, my goal was to go forward and try to catch people, which we did. So mission accomplished, except I didn't win the race, but mission accomplished because we're 1 and 2 in the championship. That was, to me, the perfect Penske strategy today.
I take it the yellow at the halfway mark was probably not what you wanted to see. That was impactful to your day as well.
Yeah, I don't know, was it?
You were better on the long run.
Yes, for sure. And that's when I was really catching Dixon and Herta. I really think it would have helped if we kept going on that run. But that's racing. It's the way it is. There's nothing you can change, and it's the way it was going to be. So certainly on long runs we're really strong, and I really enjoyed driving the car today. So it's awesome. We've turned things around massively compared to last year. I've heard a lot of negative comment on my 18th season, but the reason why I'm here today and Indy is because of the 18th season. So out of all negative, you got to transform it into positive. That's exactly what we did. I'm so proud of that.
Any further questions? I might ask you one about Joseph. Alex had said earlier that the best driver, probably the best team, crew, the best kind of year came from Joseph as you look at it as a whole.
Absolutely.
A deserving champion, I'm sure you feel?
Absolutely. I think he had the most consistent season. He was fast when he had to be. He took care of his own destiny, and he was he had the championship from first race. So, I think he was the most deserving guy to win it this year. And I love personally working with Will and Joseph because we push each other and improve each other every session, every races. I feel like I'm a better driver than I was in Portland. Yeah, Joseph really deserves it. He does. I think he was the best championship driver this year, and his crew did a great job too. And Team Penske was the best team, so very happy for that for sure. Yeah, we'll see what we can do next year. Come back and try to beat them.
One more here from Patrick Steffen.
Just kind of rate the season. I know from a fun standpoint, you got a smile on your face even before Indy, but can you kind of tell? You seem like the stress was even gone. Even we were trying to put it there for you, but it didn't seem like you were taking it. Can you tell us how that's gone this year?
Absolutely, yeah. No, there were a lot of rumors about me, which was very negative. It was all made up, and I don't know why that was happening. The performance was there, and we turned things around in the winter already, and I felt really confident going into the season. So I took the approach of being positive and trying to, make the universe go my way this year. And it certainly we turned things around in that aspect in May. We had a lot of bad luck to start the season, despite having performance, and we've just kept getting better and better through the year. But certainly winning Indy on a personal note was a huge relief, just because personally I feel more relevant in my sport. I feel like I've stamped my time, so it's a very fulfilling accomplishment, and it certainly helped me to drive better and be a better driver after that, 100%.
We'll take another here from David Mulcher, since you have a couple months before our next race.
Simon, do you now feel as comfortable with this car as you did with the previous generation car in your unbelievable year of 2016?
Yeah, I think so, and I think you see me drive even better than then. I've managed to work on other areas of my driving style, and I think you saw it today. I can be really aggressive, I can pass people, and I can, it's something I couldn't really do before. I had to start up front and go. Now I can start in the middle and go to the front, which is a new thing that I can do. So, I've improved myself, and I feel like, especially this weekend, we've come to a point where I really enjoy driving this car just as much as 16. So, obviously next year things are going to change with the aero screen. With the aero screen, because that's going to move the weight of the car forward. So we're going to have to adjust again, but I think we've understood the philosophy that I need. So it's quite exciting, and yeah, as you see, I still have a grin on my face. I enjoy myself driving, which is the most important thing.
Simon, thank you. Congratulations on second place, and congratulations on being a deserving Indy 500 winner.
Thank you for the support, and thank you for your work as well, promoting the series. It's growing, as you can see, so let's keep going, and thank you.